morning comes from the Gospel of Luke chapter 10. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" he replied. "How do you read it?" He answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." "You have answered correctly," Jesus replied. "Do this, and you will live." But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look after him,' he said, 'and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you have.' Which of these 3 do you think was the neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robber?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." Please stand for the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. There's much to be said about the unique environment that exists here at Carson Law. Among many others, one thing I often hear to describe the core is that there is a brotherhood amongst all. The question must be asked, what exactly is brotherhood? Moreover, can such an abstract concept exist among so many individuals from different parts of the United States and around the world? More importantly, how can it be developed and maintained throughout the year, especially when we welcome new cadets throughout the rolling admissions and second semester? Brotherhood has many different definitions, but the most appropriate one for Carson Long is the belief that all people should act with warmth and equality towards one another, regardless of differences in race, creed, or nationality. To me, it sounds as though the definition was written specifically for here. The reason I chose the parable of the Good Samaritan for our reading this morning is to illustrate that regardless of a man's religion, nationality, or background, he deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. Am I saying that all of you will end up being best friends with each other? Absolutely not. Nor does anyone expect you to do so. However, we all expect that each person can show appreciation and respect towards all members of the corps and staff at Carson Law. Have you ever seen how annoyed blood brothers can get with each other? I know that I have, and despite their anger towards each other, in the end, regardless of their conflict, they ultimately love and respect one another. If you don't believe me, ask the Lapries or the Yakubowskis. All too often, we tend to gravitate to those things and people that are familiar and comfortable to us. I know that I certainly do. However, if you stick to what you know and fail to reach outside of your comfort zone while you're here and in the future, you will miss a tremendous opportunity to learn and grow, and also to meet some interesting people along the way and do the right thing. Think about the story that Jesus tells from the reading today. The man that he describes takes a long and winding road from Jerusalem to Jericho, which in reality is about 17 miles long. The road was desolate, it was abandoned, and a perfect place for robbers to beat and murder travelers and make a quick buck. The individuals who passed by the man who was beaten came from highly respected castes in Jewish society, many of whom we would expect to do the right thing. Especially 2,000 years ago, a priest was a revered member of society who was charged with the health and well-being of all the people in the Jewish community. However, when he came across the man who had been mugged, he chose the easier wrong by simply avoiding him and moving to the other side of the road, instead of the harder right and stopping to see if the man needed assistance. The next man was a Levite, which was a caste that held priests in the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. Like the priest, this man was obligated to do the right thing and show mercy and compassion, but he did not, also choosing the easier wrong than the harder right. Finally, the Samaritan enters the picture. The thing you have to understand about Samaritans are they were hated amongst the Jews of the day when the Bible was written, although they shared a very similar historical and religious tradition. The schism that existed between the Jews and the Samaritans was so wide that of the three individuals Jesus mentions in the Gospel, the Samaritan would have been the least likely to help the man in distress. But he did. He exemplified the golden rule, which is doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. The Samaritan saw a man in trouble and helped him, bandaged his wounds, paid for his travel and his care, and checked up on him when he returned. Think of yourself. Have you gone out of your way to help somebody while you've been here? A new boy, maybe one from the second semester, or one of the old boys who was really in need. I think about October of 2011, only a couple months after I arrived here and began my career at Carson. Cadet Stack fell and broke his leg on the football field during a freak October snowstorm. Loader was there. Loader took care of him. Loader carried him where he needed to be. That's an example of true brotherhood. That's what it means to be a Carson Long Cadet. Everything in life, as Colonel Somerville often tells us, is based upon your choices. The choice to help somebody out who's struggling maybe when they're studying. The choice to be on time and in the proper uniform. The choice to walk away from a situation when you can take a swing at the person who's bothering you. The choice to say nothing at all instead of uttering something stupid or ignorant. The choice to help somebody who's having a bad day. The choice whether or not to skip out of your building or maybe go smoke or vape determines your success and failure within our environment at Carson Long. Always remember, who would you rather be? The guy who chooses to turn his back on the man in need, or the guy who's always there to help in whatever way possible? To the class of 2015, it's hard to believe that your journey here is almost complete. But I can't stress enough, almost. There are still 29 days until graduation, and a lot of things can happen in those days. Among the other valuable things that you take with you after you graduate, remember that how you treat people is vitally important. It will stay with you throughout college or military service, your employment, your career, with your family, and with life in general. Always remember, it's easier to snap off on somebody or just be nasty. But the hard and correct thing to do is always make sure that you're kind to people so that their interactions with you are always first class. Seniors, the month of May is full of a list of lasts for you while you're here. Before May 30th arrives, which you all know will be a lot sooner than you think, take the opportunity to look around and smell the roses a little bit and soak in the environment. Despite what you think, and you'll probably disagree with this statement, at some point in the not-too-distant future, you will miss here. You'll miss the atmosphere, you'll miss the people, you'll miss the routine, you'll miss being called into Colonel Somerville's office, you'll miss all of those wonderful things, good and bad.